Alright, hello and welcome guys, my name is Lance3375 and I have been playing Mobius Final Fantasy for about a year and a half I think. And every now and then I like to go to these Facebook groups and see that there are some people that just started to play the game, but then they don't really know the mechanics of the game yet or anything, because this game isn't really good at teaching you the basics. And that's why I took it upon myself to actually make a little tutorial video kind of explaining how the game works, what the cards do, what you should be doing with your skill seeds, how to farm crystals, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. First things first, I would like to explain the user interface. Over here you have your card slot, and here you have your deck. Basically everything that you do in this game, you're gonna have to use these cards over here. Now this slot over here is actually where you can choose your job. Lucky thing for me, I actually have all of them. So anytime you have an attack or a spell or something to do, this is where it goes basically. So now if you tap and hold each icon, you can actually see the information. You can see the base stats of these cards, and that's actually something that I didn't know when I first started this game, and it's gonna help you. So first let's talk about the types of cards there are. There are cards that help you with breaking and cards that help you with damaging the health bar. See, bosses or enemies in this game, they have two bars, and their break bar, I think, or whatever it's called, is actually what protects them. So you kind of have to break their guard or their break bar first before you can access their green bar, which is their life. Now there are two types of cards. You have the cards that are good at dealing yellow bar damage, and the ones that are good at killing, which is green bar damage, I guess. Now let's look at these stats over here. So if you look at the attack 150, this card isn't really good at killing, but it's very good at breaking. You see the break power over here is a lot higher than the attack. Now let's look at the Terra card that I have over here. I think this card actually has 500 attack power, but it has 10 break power, meaning whenever you want to break the boss, this is the card you want to use, as opposed to this one. When a boss is broken, then you're gonna have to use the Terra card, which has more attack. The more attack power it has, the faster the boss dies. So now over here, generally sometimes whenever you get a job, you kind of have to go into its skill panels to level it up, and that's gonna happen over here. So now let's talk about the job and how you level it up. And you have to spend your skill seeds and use your crystals to unlock this slot over here. Generally the first 4 are very easy, I think, but as you progress further, you're gonna have to spend a lot more skill seeds and all that, but don't worry about that. That stuff is pretty easy to get. Apart from skill seeds, sometimes if you don't have enough skill seeds, because these slots over here, they cost like 10,000 or 20,000 fire seeds, and let's say you don't have those, well, you can always go over here and click this icon, and it'll actually switch from seeds to your crystal. The more rare the ticket, the more seeds it can unlock or substitute for. I don't know what the values are, it's been a while. Now let's look at our deck over here. Basically each card in your deck has the ability to generate seeds after you won a battle. So now this cloud card over here, it gives you 4 water seeds and 2 light seeds. This one over here gives whatever, it's probably the same. Now you can always upgrade these, you can level them up. You get that by unlocking your skill seeds or increasing it by fusing with those Gigantor cards, but I'll get into that in a later day. Right now let's just go with it. This deck here creates 8 water seeds and 4 light seeds. Now ideally you kind of want to have cards that give you a whole lot more. You want them at 5-star and you want them leveled up, not like this. You can get 56 seeds, water seeds, from a 5-star card, which is why you kind of want to always have a 5-star card in your deck, because you maximize your seed gain. Now at the end of every battle, you'll basically have this multiplier that kind of multiplies your total skill seeds generated by your deck with a certain number. Sometimes it'll be like 10 or 12 or 13, it's whatever, I really don't know the math. I'm not too good at remembering numbers like that. But you generally want to have your deck maxed out at 5-star to make sure that you get the most seeds for your buck. More bang for your buck, basically. So let's see now. So now this slot over here, sometimes you'll have a job that has like 3 different forms. You'll have the knight as you start here, but as you increase the skill panels, you'll basically unlock a new form of job, I'm guessing. Imperial Knight and Vanguard, whatever. I don't know if that's a weapon, but you get the point. Ideally, you kind of want to always be at the last one. Now, after you max out a job, you actually have to go to the shop over here, and I recommend that you get the metal. It'll be in the item shop. I'm guessing in the guild items, or maybe guards. One of these places over here, you'll see something called a knight metal, or whatever job it is that you upgraded. So let's say we just finished upgrading the knight, then I would be able to buy the knight metal in the shop. Now what that does is basically you go in your job change section. Yeah, here it is. The job change metal basically allows you to keep your stats the same. If you actually turn this off, or if you didn't have it, then when you switch to the previous forms of your job, you actually lose stats. I actually just buy this because it's only 2 mil, and earning gil in this game is not that hard. Sometimes I actually want to play with weaker stats. So yeah, do keep an eye out for that. If you don't grab the metal, I don't know what happens, but I think it vanishes. I think yep, it definitely vanishes because I actually missed out on a couple of these guys. Now let's look at this slot over here. This slot over here is your weapon slot. Once you finish a job, skill panels, each job basically will give you access to 2 weapons. Sometimes they don't really give you 2 weapons, but it's whatever. For every job, there are 4 types. You basically have your warrior type, which is over here. If you look at the sword, that kind of represents a warrior. If you click and hold on the icon, you can actually enter this menu and you'll just see it right there. Job type warrior. This is a ranger. Those swords over here represent ranger. You have your mages, guys who basically use staffs and rods. Let's see, the scholar over here is a mage. Job type mage. Yep. And then you have your monks. The monk icon is basically like 3 claws. Now let's get into deck building. If you want to be efficient, you kind of have to use the same type of ability cards that match your job. Mainly, if you're a samurai warrior, you kind of have to use warrior cards only. Now if you look at this icon over here, it's actually glowing because that's a warrior, it matches. This spellcaster icon over here is not glowing, so you're not gonna get an attack bonus. Every job that you choose basically comes with their own set of elements. Now the samurai over here, he can use water, wind, and dark. So you kind of want to only use warrior cards that have these 3 elements. So now let's talk about how you build a deck. Let me click over here. Okay, these are the cards that you own. Now over here you have a filter, and I actually like to use this a lot because I have too many cards. If you click on it, you can basically check that I want all warriors. I want to, let me see, what is it that samurai has for a second? Water, wind, earth. Okay, so I go up here, I click sort job, click the warrior icon. What is it again? Water, wind, earth? Yeah, okay. Water, wind, earth, and basically anything that is compatible with my samurai, it'll just show up over here. I don't need to scroll past all the mages or whatever debuff cards I have. Everything that I can and will use is right here. So now we can just build our deck. It's pretty easy, you just have to click and choose, but there are some rules you should stick by. I will definitely go into that later. For now, let me just keep going with this. Actually, no, I should do that now. If you're gonna be playing single player, you kind of have to use all elements because you'll eventually run into some monsters that are just gonna resist all your attacks. If you stick your deck with a whole bunch of water cards, what's gonna happen when you run into a water monster? So you kind of want to always have at least 2 elements. If you have 3, that's okay, that's fine. Single player isn't that hard. So now let me see over here. I could build a deck with this horse, I don't know its name, this guy, and this thing, swamp thing. Yeah, okay. Now generally once you have 3 elements set up, you kind of also want to use a spell card, and I actually like to do that over here in my filter tab. Go here and click on healer and click life. So you'll kind of see what kind of spell cards you have. Now just for the hell of it, I'm just gonna put the faith card because magic is always nice. Now, oh, hold on a second, I forgot to click this icon over here. This icon over here, I actually have this enabled in my settings tab because I like to play on my mobile device. And I actually like to save as much battery as I can. It's somewhere over here, something about do not load characters. There you go. Let me just uncheck that because it might freak you guys out. Hold on, let me get back here. So yeah, basically this is our deck. You kind of want to have all 3 elements and 1 healer card, because if you don't have a healer card, you'll just have the life orbs in battle and you can't really do anything with life orbs except draw them, and you're gonna heal yourself. It's best if you always just have a spell card with you. So now, let me see. The weapon that he has over here, it's not that great. Probably just use my cane lance. This is... yeah, okay, I'll just use the cane lance. Now, over here, still in this window, if we click auto, you can actually see all the total cumulative buffs or enhancements that you get from the samurai. That's also including the buffs you get from these cards. Once again, if you tap and hold these icons, you can actually see, and if you swipe to the right, you can see all the enhancements that you get. This one here has magic up 3, enhanced water, blah, and blah. So yeah, those stats will reflect in this auto tab over here, but it's just a good total summary of what you have. So now, let's see, the samurai will have clutch barrier, clutch brave, power drive, earth, skill seed. Well, it's all this pretty stuff over here. This is basically what you get whenever you finish the skill panel over here. Also, I do want to note these abilities over here. Let me just uncheck these. These 3 abilities over here, they only reflect in a multiplayer. Wait a second, that's not right. No, wrong one. There you go. These are your multiplayer abilities. These don't kick in unless you're in the multiplayer lobby. So they won't really help you much in single player, as you can see over here. Well, basically these skills here are only triggered whenever you're in multiplayer. Just to show you guys what that means, I'm just actually gonna go in multiplayer. Here you go. When the background is orange over here, and I'm in my multiplayer deck, you can actually see those abilities kick in. For the mage, you actually have an enhancement for drawing life orbs and all that type of stuff. For everybody it's different, depends on your role. Alright, so let's enter battle. Hold on a second. Now I like to do my battling or my deck testing over here in Chaos Vortex. That's mainly because the stamina cost over here is 0, which is something that I like. And this node over here is always the fire dragon. So I like to really test my deck and show stuff off. Actually, let me enter battle with some of my weaker cards. I don't want to kill the guy in 1 hit. Alright, I'm just gonna state this right now. I did say that earlier, that you kind of have to always use the same type of card, same type of ability card with your job. Since Tidus here is a warrior, you should only use warrior cards. But then all of a sudden over here you see that this spellcaster, that this mage card over here is also glowing. Well, that's just something unique with Tidus only. He has some ability called, what is it again? Mage lore? Mage lore. It has to be mage lore. It's just unique to him only. Applies magic bonus to mage abilities. So just don't be like, oh, he put mage cards in his warrior deck and he's like, you know, breaking the rules and stuff. He's hacking. That's just something that Tidus has. Now let me see over here. Now let's go over the deck and the cards that we have over here. This cloud card over here has 150 in attack and 360 in break. This Terra card over here has 500 attack and 10 break. This card is not that good at breaking the yellow gauge, however it is very good at killing a boss. Now these cards... Now this card over here, this is the cloud card, you actually have a lot more break power here than attack. So generally the flow of battle is supposed to go like this. Now, we're in a battle, let's go. What's happening over here? Now let's see, this is perhaps the most intimidating thing to me when I first started. I didn't know what the hell this was. Well, that came in later, let me not lie. But then you have these things over here, that score, that battle, these things over here, and whatever that is. I'll just describe it to you and explain it as best as I can. So now, orbs. Every ability you cast, they kind of need orbs. This card over here has 3 blue squares, so that means it needs 3 water orbs. If I use this card right here, 3 water orbs will vanish. Now, over here you have something that I didn't know in the beginning. It's your element wheel. The more abilities you use, the smaller that specific element becomes. You can also manipulate this wheel by driving orbs away. So now let's say we're fighting against, well, okay, it's only one enemy. We're fighting against the fire dragon. Now, obviously we don't have fire skills, but technically it's not a good idea to use fire on a fire enemy. So what do you do with these fire orbs? Well, you can just drive them away. Now pay attention to your color wheel over here. As you can see, it's 1/3 red, 1/3 blue, 1/3 green. Now by driving fire orbs, two things will happen. One, the color wheel will reduce in red, so when it's reduced in red, it actually means you'll have less chance of drawing fire orbs. Let me just drive it. And also, one more thing. There are 5 levels of elemental resistances, so if you drive the fire orbs, let me see, it's 4 of them here. I don't know what that adds up to. I'm gonna guess it's probably 2 stacks, but just pay attention to this area over here. Let me just drive it. See? Element drive. That said element drive. Now, yeah, I think it's 1 stack of elemental resist per 2 orbs, but I'm not too sure about that, so don't quote me. Now, if you tap and hold this button over here, you can just see what this buff means. It says resist fire. You can resist fire attacks. So now let me just do the same for the wind, because I don't really need to use wind. By driving these, let me see, 1, 2, 3, that's 6 orbs. By driving these 6 wind orbs, the color wheel basically shrinks over there. So now let's take a look at this over here. If you look closely, you can see that everything is almost blue. This means that the probability of you drawing water orbs is a lot higher. So if I attack, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get water orbs. 1, 2, yep, that's 3. Now, do you remember when I was saying that Braver has more break power? Well, break power is actually relevant to this orange bar over here, this yellow bar. So you can't access the boss's health unless you break or get rid of this bar. So now, let's see, this Terra card. It might actually do a lot of damage, but that's just my Titus with a lot of magic, but let me just use it. So now look at this. Just forget the HP damage that happened there. This is what's important. If you look at this gauge over here, this yellow bar basically lost a little bit of yellow, and you'll see that it's red. Ideally, you want to get rid of this bar, but the most efficient way is to get rid of yellow first and then red. And then, once the boss is broken, you can finally attack it with your HP damaging card. So, the best card to get rid of yellow is actually Braver. I'm just gonna use it. Okay, he died. Never mind. Hold on, I should probably do that again. Okay, so just forget that he died. I'm just gonna use Braver first. And right there, you see, the entire yellow bar is gone. And now there's nothing but a red bar over there. Now this is where you kind of want to only use your normal attacks, which is basically your tap attacks. Your physical weapon is the best thing against this red bar over here, so you just tap 1. See? That decreases it by a lot. So basically I'm just gonna keep tapping, and I'm gonna draw orbs. So I'm just gonna keep tapping this boss until he breaks. And now he entered break status, so generally the best card to use over here is the one that has most attack, because that'll do more damage. And there you go. That's the most efficient way of breaking and killing a boss. That's the most OG basic way of doing it. You should never have your orb set up over here full whenever you're attacking. So you kind of always want to be drawing orbs. If I'm just attacking like this, I'm just doing these attacks and this orb setup over here is just full and I'm not gaining anything. I'm not drawing life orbs, I'm not drawing water orbs. So you always kind of want to be empty with the setup over here. Let me just drive this and drive this. So the more orbs you drive of one element, the more it vanishes on your color wheel and you get more elemental resistance. Anyway, so now look at this color wheel over here. It's mostly blue. I know I'm gonna draw a whole lot of blue orbs. Also, if you pay attention, this isn't really an efficient way for me to break the boss. If you just keep spamming the attack, it'll take like forever. Let me just flee and do this again. So yeah, why should you bother breaking the gauge first? Because your normal attack isn't really that good against the yellow gauge. It's very good against the red, but not yellow. I'll just demonstrate that right now. And there you go, he finally broke. And now this is the most efficient way of breaking a boss. You basically want to clear all of its yellow gauge. And then just tap attack. 1, 2, 3. Bam. In 4 attacks and there you go. Boss is crippled, its defenses are broken, and you're free for 7 turns to do whatever it is you want to do. You can drive orbs. You can set up your color wheel properly. 1, 2, 3. And right now he has 2, you have 2 turns left to finish him off. Basically right now is a good idea to finish the boss off. And there you go. Now let's talk about spell cards. You have 2 types of spell cards or healer cards. Yeah, it's a healer card, what am I saying? So basically you have the ones that give you a buff or a boon, or you have the one that puts a debuff on the enemy. Generally the ones that debuff the enemy come with an element like, you know, healer and fire or healer and earth. So yeah, if you click healer, the healer tab, and you click the filter for water, you'll see all these debuff cards for water. This one over here that I have is the taunt, that's actually for defenders. And then I have this curse egga. Curse egga? Curse egga. Curse eggs. I like eggs. Anyway, we have curse sega over here. Curse ega? Curse ega. Curse ga. Curse ga. I think it's curse ga. It's whatever. So you have that. And then you have your healer cards that give you your boon, like I said earlier. You have faith. The more orbs a card uses, the better the ability. This one here is Choco Isuna. You have ones that help you draw 1 set of orbs, ones that just give you more speed. They're all just great. Eventually, you'll get into that as you progress through the game. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do over here is talk about your stats. The stat over here, your HP is your life, obviously you don't want to lose that. Your attack power, it actually relates to how much damage you're doing with your normal attack, your weapon. It doesn't necessarily affect red bar damage, that's actually a different type of stat. That's this one over here, that's break. So your attack actually is for your weapon attack and your ultimate, which is over here. If you click abilities and you scroll down, you could see your ultimate, your job's ultimate. Now, Ace Striker over here has its attack power at blah and break power at blah. You can actually read the stats and the buff over here. This is actually a description, just don't even bother with that. Over here you could see the buffs that you get. So if I use my ultimate with Ace Striker, I'll actually have haste, which is a good thing. You should always check your job's ultimate skills. What is it? I'm gonna guess Last Hunter has his ultimate. Meteor Javelin. Here I get Brave, I get Boost, and I get Weaken, which is pretty good, actually. I actually didn't know it did all that. Now, your break power actually reflects how well you can break the red bar. You have your magic over here. Magic is how well you can use your ability cards. So magic actually relates to your damage with these ability cards, and these things over here are ability cards. So don't get it twisted. Don't be like, oh, my attack stat is important to warriors. That's actually not true. That's something that I thought, and I was stupid back then. I mean, I'm still lacking in some things, but it's whatever. With any RPG, you would think, oh yeah, you're a warrior, you're a physical attacker, you have a sword, you should have high attack power, and to hell with magic, who cares about magic? Well, when it comes to using ability cards, the higher magic you have, the more damage you do with that. So again, everybody needs the magic stat. You kind of want attackers who have high magic, like, I don't know, my mage over here with his amazing 1076 magic over here. And the last stat you should look at is your critical, your speed, and your defense. These eventually get leveled up as you progress up your skill panel, I think. As you jump and progress up your skill panels through the job, you'll get better stats, basically. I'll just show you an example. If I just toggle it off, see, the first starter, the first guy has less speed and all that stuff, so ideally you want to be at max. And as you upgrade your weapon, you'll actually get more speed stars or more defense stars. Right now my mage has like 1 only, but if I equip the true scale, I can actually have, where is it? Oh yeah, here you go. See, you can actually see the upgrade. My true skill has 3 defense stars on it and 1 critical. I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, if you ever manage to get like a lot of stars, I don't know what this golden star here represents, but it's there to substitute all of these. I think it means, what is this, 6? I'm guessing that represents 8, I just don't know. So well, there you have it guys, this is my basic overview of the user interface. I hope it's been educational, and I know it's cringe inducing if you pretty much know this game inside and out, but I think for a newcomer this kind of information is necessary. So in the next video I'll probably talk about jobs or maybe breaking, I don't know yet. I'll just leave that up in the air. I just hope you enjoyed the vid, and I hope to see you next time.